Hey everybody, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. I did another poll again, and I think you'd think that by now everyone would realize whenever I do a poll, it's because I need video content, something I want to talk about in a video. But whenever I do, it always seems like there are a portion of people that are very nervous that something's going to change, and I hear from people. So anyway, I want to go over this. My question was, in theory. This is the key part. In theory, if I built a private crowdfunding site for my books, would you back it there? The reason I bring this up is because, I mean, behind the scenes, people talk about this. People talk about all sorts of things. There is the possibility, potentially, in the next, I don't know, 1 to 10 years, we'll say, that a crowdfunding platform like Indiegogo could be taken over by activists, and they could kick out anybody that they don't like on the platform. That's possible. It kind of happened on Kickstarter. Not really. I mean, they'll sacrifice, they'll send out the scapegoats. You know, they'll pick some people, Richard Meyer, John Malin, with their campaign, later Mike Miller. They'll pick and choose, and they'll kick you out. But they haven't like wholesale banned everybody, and that's because at the end of the day they still like money, at least a little. In the case of Indiegogo, we haven't seen anything massive there, except they have pushed out Vox Day. Actually, he did run a crowdfunding campaign, and I think he got the whole thing totally funded, wasn't allowed to continue there. Anyway, I digress. The point is that there could be some value. You could think of scenarios where having your own crowdfunding site could be actually a really good idea. And actually, Kelsey Shannon is the one that first turned me on to this idea. He sent me, I don't remember if it was this one or a different one, but Shopify App Store, they actually have a plugin for making your own crowdfunding site. And if you look at some of the images here, it looks just like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, minus potentially color schemes are different. But essentially what you're talking about is some very basic coding. It's just a basic setup for a site. And that's not the difficult part. You're talking literally, so you can have videos, everything. It's all exactly how you want it to be. For only $24 a month. That would be considered your Indiegogo fees. And then people could purchase, they could even use PayPal to back a campaign, which is something that Indiegogo doesn't offer at the moment. I don't know about Kickstarter, but that has some potential. So let's go full circle here. The reason I bring this up is because Doug Ernst launched his book, Soul Finder. This is part 2, but he launched it on Iconic Comics website, which looks an awful lot, not completely, but a lot like my website. So I know that they probably use Shopify. That's my guess, which is pretty easy to use. And so here's a store, you got a book, you have, all of the information that you would put anywhere else, the story, all that jazz. Perhaps what you're missing is a video, though. I guarantee you I could find a way to embed a video into a page. And if you use that crowdfunding plugin, we saw video there as well. So you could definitely put video. You could even go down to putting the backer number, all that jazz. So what's the difference then? This seems like a big risk. And the part that Doug addressed by doing it this way was that you're not backing to fund something, essentially. You're backing, or you're buying a book because he's already taken the investment and the risk is significant in getting a book like this produced and printed already before ever selling a single book. That's significant. But he shouldered all that risk to launch the thing on a website and drive traffic to that website and have people purchase it and immediately get it. I bought the book. I already have a shipping notification that it's coming, so I'm curious to look at it. But this is a really interesting way to do things. I mean, this is moving more toward even more independence and away from crowdfunding. at the same time when you're seeing even bigger publishers moving toward crowdfunding. So this is incredibly interesting, and I want to watch it. Now, I'm not saying I may have made any decisions that I'm going to start my own crowdfunding site on my website. Not at all. But it does raise the question. So he did, the biggest question is sales numbers, okay? So here on the Soul Finders, this is the Indiegogo page where he posted an update. And this was interesting. So update, Soul Finder Volume 2 first day totals. So here's the portion that people are missing. And I'm going to get back to the comments on the poll that I posted. Huge thank you to day one backers. We had our live stream. We crossed the 200 backer mark in less than 20 hours before opening the store. Now, obviously when you launch a book, you got to compare it to the book that you already launched in that same series. That's a big part of it. That's a component that you want to look at. And so these are the Indiegogo numbers from the campaign, just showing that essentially the 200 backers is more backers than they got on the first campaign, if that makes sense. So through Iconic Comics going this route, they actually got more day one backers, more customers. And they did say the first 24 hour sales totals doesn't include taxes or shipping charges. Now, shipping charges are included in Indiegogo, so technically their dollar amount would be higher because Indiegogo counts it too if you want to do apples to apples. Besides that, though, sales tax is another consideration because if you're crowdfunding, you're not collecting sales tax because it's a crowdfunded anyway. Like for tax reasons, it's slightly different. If you're doing a pre-order sell, you're just selling a book, then taxes apply where they apply. Is that a big deal? No, I don't really think so. It's not a big deal, but it's just something to take note of. All right. And then they're already shipping. And I know because I got a tracking number, so I know my book is already shipping. So really interesting. I'm very curious to see how this whole thing goes. So let's go over to, again, we got Sweet Comics Crowdfunder. All right. So if in theory I built a private crowdfunding site, I've already shown you that it would cost me $24 a month. If you ran a month-long campaign or 2 months, you're paying $25 or $50. That's it in crowdfunding fees. And then obviously you have your merchant service fees through PayPal or, merchant service. That's a thing. But those all exist on Indiegogo already, and Indiegogo already takes their cut. So what's Indiegogo giving you? They're giving you traffic. That's the big question, is how much traffic is Indiegogo giving you and your campaign, and how much traffic are you just sending to Indiegogo? So let's see what a whole bunch of people have to say. I was a little bit surprised of the results. I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but if I build my own crowdfunding site, would you back it there? 68% at the moment out of 103 votes said, heck yes, I would. And 32%, we're talking about a third of people said nope, Indiegogo or bust. They only want to back campaigns on Indiegogo, and they wouldn't go back a campaign on a private site. That is interesting. And I didn't ask the questions why. And some of these answers, I've been reminded that not everybody likes me on Twitter. And some of these answers might be that they just don't want to back me or support me. And that's cool too, I guess. Anyway, so here's some of the comments. My finger hit the wrong one, so it's off by one. My bad. Okay. All right. So maybe I don't know what he intended to vote for, but you get what I mean. Let's see. I think you built up enough following and general awareness of yourself and your work that you could pull it off. And I'm not just saying me in particular. I'm saying in general, creators. Let's say if Ethan started his own, he could do it just as easily as I could. If he started his own website and he had a crowdfunding campaign on his own website, is that a deal breaker for somebody that would be wanting to be backing Cyberfrog books anyway? Is that really a deal breaker? I don't know. All right, so I think in concept I would back it, but in reality, traffic drives people to Indiegogo, and people sort of remember to check on and back their favorite creators. I think, though, I could be wrong, so I might simply miss seeing your projects. If you can't drive traffic there, then yes. Or if you can drive traffic there, then yes. Yeah, that is the big question. So if you're going to Indiegogo to back something else, you're there for the whatever the latest campaign launch, and then you remember, oh yeah, I haven't backed Fatal yet, which is still on Indiegogo in demand, and then you go back there and you back it, versus going out of your way to find it. So that's a very good point. Let's see. Twit did this thing. Who's Twit? Creation of a site is easy. Everything else is hard. Yep. And that's what I learned too. I thought that the coding, like figuring out how to make the site would be difficult, but it's plug and play easy, like not difficult. You don't have to be a scientist to know any of this stuff. But getting traffic, that is the hard part. All right. Add auto scroll of images, a nice touch to show the work. Yeah. Again, you could literally have all the same things. Every single feature essentially that you're seeing on any crowdfunding site, you could just make yourself. Let's see. Yes, CG needs an independent selling platform. I fear it's just a matter of time before Indiegogo is compromised as a platform. A lot of people worry about that, or some people at least. I've heard that concern. So many things to do in your Wetsy. I don't even know what that means. That's a lot more things to do. Yeah. Just make a store, brother. I have a store. I've got one. Why try and reinvent the wheel unless you want for other creators? And have the perks as unique items: one book, one product listing, second listing, one book signed, third a book with a poster, etc. Simple. You don't need a crowdfunding platform. You can take pre-orders. Yes, you can, and that's exactly what I was looking at here with Soul Finder and Doug Ernst. That's what he did. So the difference, though, I think, are the numbers, and I think that gets brought up before too. In one of these, it's fun to see the numbers go up. There's social proof, which is a big part of sales, when you see backer numbers go up. When you see those that other people are backing a book, it makes you want to back that book more. And so that's inherent in crowdfunding. So I guess that would be the benefit of crowdfunding. Again, you could build your own. At the same time, I don't know. It comes down to the traffic question. Let's see. I am loyal to Indiegogo over Kickstarter, but if you build your own platform, I would definitely support it, Clint. It would be nice if other creators did the same. The way I see it, we need our own platforms for everything. And then some guy says, Mormons aren't trustworthy. Well, that's bigoted. Crowdfunding site. Do you mean just offer pre-orders on your site with an integrated goal? I mean, it's not all that different essentially, but the question is doing it on Indiegogo or doing it yourself. That's really the difference, if the difference matters. And here we go. Redline Fiction says, yeah, keeping the funds raised backer count would be wise. It's part of the fun watching a campaign grow. Yep, I agree. Here's a question. Why? You could save on fees, I guess. Let's see. He says, I'm guessing it would be a huge undertaking on your part, and fees to manage and host the site may offset anything from Indiegogo. I like the independent aspect, but you would lose the exposure of a platform. I would back from your site, but I would never advise doing it. Right. So this is a big part of the question: traffic, and how do you get traffic? The more I've thought about this on how you would do this, and again, I got to clarify, I'm not saying that I'm doing this. I'm making a video about doing it because people are thinking about it. It's interesting. But I think that there are a few ways that you could, in theory, approach it. One would be to say, hey, I have a website. I am sort of morphing over into a publishing company that is built for comic books today. The way that it works is you can go on and you can search the catalog and you can buy what we already have printed that exists, or you could have a link here that says crowdfunding. I've got my news link, but you could click on crowdfunding, and then here you'd have a list of potential projects. And these projects could be, whatever. They're books that you plan on fulfilling. So you go to the site, people are backing the books. You're constantly driving traffic to this site, under all the ability that you have to drive traffic there. And people are going to green light the books that they want to read, that they want to see. You publish those books, you fulfill those books. So one of the benefits, again, is that if I did it this way, Sweet Comics would be fulfilling it. I would be fulfilling it. So you could have some level of confidence that you're going to get your book, you know what the packaging is going to look like, so on and so on. You could run things that way. That is not, again, that none of this is difficult to do. It's actually very simple to do. But ultimately, it comes down to, can you drive traffic, enough traffic to make the risk worth it? Or did it really come down to, it wasn't the platform at all? It was just that having a book finished beforehand so that you could back it on Indiegogo and then get it almost immediately afterward. That really is fulfilling the need that people are missing. And that is sort of this more instant gratification of ordering something, backing something, and getting it at the same time. Anyway, a lot of interesting stuff to think about. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think it's a good idea that deserves more exploration? Do you think it's a terrible idea and just use Indiegogo, or anything in between? Thanks so much, and I will see you in the next video.